Good morning. Hi, my name's Dave Shaw. I'm the Director of Enrollment and Financial Aid at Crescent School. And I've got two alum and a mom here with me on the call. Thrilled to have you join us. So maybe we'll just start with Max. Maybe you can introduce yourself, Max.
All right, awesome. Thanks, David. Hey, everyone, I'm Max. I came to Crescent in grade 7, and I graduated in the class of 2018. I'm now about to enter my 4th year of applied math engineering at Queen's University, and yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Thanks, Max. Maybe over to Lincoln.
Cool. Hey, Dave, thanks. My name is Lincoln. I graduated in 2010. Started at Crescent in grade 7 as well. So back in 2004. Wow, it's been a few years out now. But I'm currently I'm working full time. I'm at Colgate-Palmolive, working as a sales/analyst manager in marketing and brand. And I'm happy to be here and talk about my experiences at Crescent.
Terrific. Thanks, Lincoln. And over to you, Magda.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for having me. My name is Magda Aquinas-Tego-Georges, and I have a boy who's in grade 3. He started in 2016. He's in grade 8 now, going into grade 8. And I'm actually the incoming CPA president for the school year 2021-2022. So looking forward to the new year.
Terrific. And CPA, for those of our listeners who don't know what that is, maybe a quick description of that.
Crescent Parent Association. So we, fundraising events, socials, parent socials, things like that, getting the community together, building a community.
Terrific. Well, thanks so much. And thank you guys for joining us today. I really appreciate it. So Lincoln and Max, I want to start with you guys and just thinking back on your time at Crescent. Maybe Max, will start with you. What did you appreciate most about Crescent and when you were there? And then maybe has anything changed, as your perspective changed on that as you're a little bit distanced from school?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the stuff I appreciated most, there's like a really strong support network at Crescent. There's always people to talk to, whether it's about advice for university or you're struggling with academics. You've always got like solid friends and good teachers and staff to talk to. And I found that was always there to catch me whenever I was falling over. And I think that's really something that's special about Crescent. I appreciated it then and I still appreciate it now. I think the people is something that really like sets Crescent apart and that I appreciated in the moment. The staff, the students, teachers, coaches, everyone there is like there to support you and there to make it a really enjoyable experience. And it was always like a pleasant experience coming to school every morning, something I looked forward to. So I think that's something I definitely appreciated. I think that there's like something for everyone there. That's something I recognized in the moment. Whether you're into artistic extracurriculars, athletics, student leadership, there's really something to like cater to everyone's interests. And what that results in is you coming out of high school, really having a good understanding of who you are, what you like, and what you want to do with not the rest of your life, but maybe in the next few years at least, which I think is definitely something that is really valuable to have at that age as a recent grad. So I think those are the things that I really appreciated about Crescent in the moment. And I think now that there's been 3 years since I graduated, I wouldn't say the things I appreciated about it have changed. I have realized anything new that's different than what I appreciated in the moment. I would just say that my appreciation for those things has like only grown over time as I realized that you don't always have such a strong support network of staff and students with you. You don't always have like an opportunity to get involved in everything that you could possibly want. So looking back on it, I really like appreciate those things even more than I did back then. Just because I realized you don't always have those things, so you really got to cherish them when you do have access to them.
Terrific. Thanks so much. Hey, Lincoln, you think back now, you seem super young to me, but now you're looking back saying, geesh, that was a long time ago when I graduated way back in 2010. Maybe talk about what you really, appreciated most when you were at Crescent, and then now looking back, has that changed, or as Max maybe just intensified.
Yeah, no, I mean, Max hit home all the points there, but I think one thing that I'm going to emphasize here is that the biggest thing that I appreciate at Crescent was more the relationships and the connections I made at the school. So similar to what Max says, that network, whether it be my peers, teachers, students in other grades, faculty, and even parents, everyone was part of this really big extended family kind of thing. And, to this day, some of my closest friends are the ones I met at Crescent. And beyond that, beyond my peers, the relationships that I had with the teachers, really helped me develop into who I am today. They invested their time and they invested their own personal time and growth into helping me to become who I am life after Crescent. So much so that, whenever I run into a teacher, whether it's at the school, outside of the school, they still remember me. And, that's something that's really special to me because, after 10 years of being away from the school, I know how many how many students they teach and meet on a yearly basis. So it's really incredible that I can run into a teacher 10 years later and they still remember the experiences that we had way back when. And now, sitting back and being an alumni now, how has that perspective changed? Well, to be honest, the appreciation has only just gotten stronger. That continued connection beyond the walls of Crescent kind of is a lot stronger than what I would have imagined after graduation. The power of the alumni network, regardless of what graduating class you're in, when you meet another alumni, there's always that Crescent connection that you can share and connect on. And that's what makes it really amazing. And to be honest, that bond actually is what brought me back to Crescent, as I've been on the alumni executive board for the past 6 years. And one of the reasons why I joined in the first place was really because I want to continue to be involved with the school and kind of give back and support as much as I can. So Crescent definitely had played a big part of my life, and I'm happy to continue to help and support as much as I can.
Yeah, that's terrific. I think that's something that you hit on at Lincoln, and Max too, that you don't realize when you're a student. Your time at the school is really short relative to your whole life connection to the school. And you don't think of that when you're a student, but then you graduate and you're going to be an alumni far longer than you were a student. And it's sort of the gift that just keeps giving. And kudos to both you guys. I know you're both, tied closely to the school and Lincoln with your volunteer efforts in the alumni executive. Thanks so much for that. Magda, maybe thinking back to grade, when Nico was in grade 2, and you were thinking about schools for him. Why did you choose Crescent originally? And then has it matched what you expected? And in what ways did it? And is there any ways that it hasn't or has been different than what you expected?
Yeah. So, when Nico was in grade 2, we actually had family friends that had 2 sons attending Crescent, and just the stories and their experiences of what Crescent had to offer in terms of academics and athletics and the quality of teachers. We had to do the tour, and we did the tour, and we were impressed by what Crescent had. Like, we were blown away. I mean, at first, what they say, don't judge a book by its cover. The school is a little intimidating at first. Like, when you drive in, the manner and just everything that it offers. And we walked through the manor doors, and it was this warmth, and like you were at home, like we got this nice feeling inside. And I remember hearing Dr. Boyes at it was an open house, and I was like in awe, and I'm like, oh my God, like if my son comes here, like, he'll be loved, he'll be taken care of, because as a mom, like you worry about that stuff. Right. So we were I don't know, I'm speechless right now, but Crescent has delivered in all aspects. Like, And we've seen, such a difference in our son that we're so grateful for. So it was the best, the best move we've made. Yeah.
Terrific. Yeah. You know what? It's funny. I hear it all the time from people, the warm, welcoming community. And it's amazing to me that you felt it once you walked through, that your perspective changed walking up to the manor, which is an impressive building.
Right. Yeah.
And then you walk through the threshold, and you just feel it right away. I felt the same way the first time I started working at Crescent. So thanks so much for that. Now, maybe start with Lincoln. And you may or may not have a wide breadth of experience in this regard, but just thinking about, what do you think differentiates Crescent from other schools? And if you have some experience, maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I'm gonna take it from the lens of an alumni, because like I truly, now that I'm outside of Crescent, you start to appreciate, and you really look back, and you reflect on your time at Crescent. So the one thing that I feel that truly differentiates Crescent from other independent schools is really the connectivity and community, even life after Crescent. The support that Crescent provides beyond the walls, like I said, is unlike any other school. Crescent's alumni network alone is one to none. And I can say that because, the board that I'm a part of was essentially put together to ensure that we continue strengthening and sustaining that lifelong bond between Crescent and alumni. And, whether it's through events, activities, mentoring, recognition, internships, or even fundraising, that mission is just to foster that sustained, meaningful relationship with Crescent and fellow graduates. And I would say, one personal example that I can take back, showing the power of that Crescent alumni network, was the help that the alumni internship program really provided me. And it really helped me kickstart my professional career after university. Like leveraging the strength of our alumni, the internship program helped me land my first job. And to further add to that, even when I moved to my second job, without even knowing it, one of the senior leaders that interviewed me at the company was a Crescent alumni. And during that interview, as soon as we realized we both went to Crescent, the comfort level and that instant connection was there. And I'm not going to say it helped me get the job, but it could have helped me, proceed through that interview a lot better than maybe if I didn't know he went to Crescent. Anyways, the point here is that, Crescent has a lot to offer life after Crescent, not only when you're at Crescent. And I truly believe that this is what differentiates Crescent from other independent schools.
Fantastic. And Max, without obviously mentioning any names, but maybe thinking about your experience, whether it's peers or other schools that you know, maybe talk about how you think Crescent is differentiated from other institutions.
Yeah, so I can speak to that in terms of how it's different than other secondary schools in Toronto, like in high schools, but also how it differs from maybe like a college or university education too, because I think that's important to consider. Because as much as I love my time at university, like there's definitely some things I miss about Crescent, and so in terms of differentiating it from that, I think there's something to be said there as well. So I think like going back to the answers I had from the first question, the support network and the people are some of the biggest things that differentiate it. And like I think those are like really special and really unique at Crescent. The people are amazing, like whether it's the students or the teachers or staff, and that network of support and feeling like you are supported. And to Lincoln's point, like when you meet someone from Crescent after you've graduated, like that connection is immediate. You do feel more comfortable, whether it's like an interview or just like a casual conversation. So that is really special. I don't think a lot of other schools have that same aspect about them. I think in particular, I think your teachers care an unbelievable amount about your academic success and your personal growth, which I think is like really special and really unique about Crescent. Like I never could have imagined that my teachers would be so invested in seeing me succeed, both in and outside the classroom. Like they really do care that is very evident from the moment you get there. In fact, from like the moment I toured Crescent, like I could notice that about the teachers. It was just something that was like very obvious to me. So I think that in particular stood out to me, and I think that definitely differentiates Crescent. I've heard from like a lot of other students at various other schools, they didn't really have the same connections to their teachers, and they didn't really feel that support and that like genuine like investment in their success as like a student, both at Crescent and afterwards. And I think the last thing I want to point out that I think differentiates Crescent is there's like a culture of collaboration, teamwork, and unity that essentially creates like a brotherhood among the students. And of course, going back to Lincoln's metaphor, it's like more of an extended family because you have like teachers, parents, everyone else involved too. But I think especially among the students, like you like are part of a brotherhood. You really care about each other as more than just like peers at school. It goes beyond that. Most of my best friends nowadays, like were like my friends from Crescent, and I imagine that a lot of them like will be my friends for life. So I think that's definitely something that I wouldn't say every high school like creates, and so I think that's like something really unique about Crescent, that I'm very happy I was able to experience, and it's benefited me years down the road as well.
Yeah, that term brotherhood just keeps coming up with the boys even like today. So that theme, every year the leadership, the student council, Max, you would know this, and Lincoln, it may have been back to your day, will come up with a theme or a phrase for the year, unifying and a theme. And I remember just a couple of years ago, the theme was "Once a Brother, Never Alone." And that I think typifies of what you guys are talking about. Like once you join, you're part of the brotherhood, and then it's for life. So that's an amazing aspect of Crescent. Magda, maybe talk about, what do you think's the biggest impact on Nico that Crescent has had? What have you noticed changes in him, perhaps?
Yeah, I've with Nico, he was more of a, when we first started, he was a shy boy. He didn't keep to himself, but he at grade 3, he just sat back and watched everything. I guess he wasn't comfortable enough. But come the end of grade 3, his confidence level like rose, and the public speaking that the kids start, he was petrified to do that. And after the first go, he loved it. As soon as he finished, he wanted to figure out what's his next topic for the upcoming year. And we're like, whoa, hold on a sec. Like, you were just a kid that, 2 months prior, you were, didn't want to do it. You didn't know what to talk about. And now you're already planning of what to talk about for next year. So his confidence level, he has this mentality, and it's great that he can achieve whatever he sets his mind to. So, and that's all thanks to obviously the school and the teachers. Like, they've built this confidence. They've given him, they've let him grow into the young man that he's becoming, which is amazing to see in such a short period of time. So
yeah. And that's interesting, the way you use that term, to grow. I know Crescent's philosophy, there's different philosophies of parenting and teaching, and sort of two different philosophies are sort of parent teacher as a sculptor, taking clay and molding it and shaping it. That sort of metaphor. And then another metaphor for thinking of teaching and parenting is the gardener, nurturing, watering, pruning every once in a while. And I know that sort of Crescent's philosophy is more the gardener, because the promise is there. The promise was in Nico, and Crescent and the teachers just unearthed what was there, and allowed him to grow and flourish in ways, and he'll obviously continue to do that. But I know that I heard that metaphor from our deputy headmaster, Nick Kovacs, and I thought that's the perfect metaphor. because it aligns with my parenting and teaching philosophy too. And I think most parents will recognize when their child's born, they have a personality already. And if you have more than one child, you realize that very quickly. So anyways, terrific to hear that confidence, because that's really what you want for your child. I mean, nothing else matters. If they have confidence in who they are as a person, then they can tackle anything. Hey Max, this is maybe a tough question, so you can pass or punt if you need to. But if Crescent was going to be represented by a single person, or personality, who would that person be, or maybe 3 words to describe Crescent and why you would say that?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'd say the 3 words I'd go with to describe our personification of Crescent would be caring, committed, and thoughtful. I think caring is something that I think is really important, and like note there, like that's one of the first things that comes to mind, because everyone at Crescent, from your peers to the staff and admin and teachers, they care about your growth and your development and your success. And I think that really like shines through in everything that Crescent does. That's something that was like apparent for me from when I started to when I finished, and even like until now. Like there wouldn't be such a tight community with the alumni network if there wasn't that caring aspect of Crescent. So I think that's one of the most important things to mention. I think committed is really important to put out there, because I feel like Crescent wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't committed to seeing you succeed throughout the school and beyond. Like from the experiences you have in your classroom to your sports practices to band practice to robotics, like everything in between. Crescent is really committed to helping like shape you into the person that you want to be, and make sure that you succeed throughout your time there and beyond. And I think that's what's really important, is that it doesn't just end when you graduate Crescent. It goes on beyond that, and they're like everyone at Crescent is committed to seeing you succeed well after you've left the school, and make sure that like what you've learned there goes on to make you a successful person and a happy person later down in life. And then the last one would be thoughtful. I think like Crescent really cares about the little things, and like there was like a lot of times that, not me personally, but maybe other people I'd see recognized for small acts of kindness, whether it was in a leadership position at school or like as an outreach effort. So I think like caring about those little things and being like really considerate of like the small like contributions that members of the Crescent community are making at Crescent or beyond the walls of the school really shows that like Crescent, if we're personifying it, is like a very thoughtful person, and really like thinks about those small things that you might go unnoticed elsewhere.
Right. Terrific. Hey Lincoln, if whether you want to do the 3 words analogy or you want to represent Crescent as a person, how would you describe the school?
Well, yeah, to add to Max's 3 words, I would say I have 4 words. So my 4 words would be, respectful, responsible, honest, and compassionate. Now, I'm sure all of you guys know like why I chose those words, because, Crescent's core values are those 4 words, and it's a value. The values are that everyone lives by those values when they're at the school. Now you're probably thinking like, oh, I'm probably just saying that because I have to, but honestly, like I truly believe it's what everyone embodies at the school, and what makes Crescent so special. Crescent builds men of character from boys of promise, regardless of who you are, and creates an environment that embraces those core values. And as someone who's lived through those experiences from grade 7 to grade 12, I can honestly say, embodying these core values has played an integral role in both my academic achievements and success in life. So it's something that I'm going to carry forward for the rest of my life. And I really believe that these 4 words are what everyone embodies when they attend Crescent School.
Yeah, you know what, Lincoln, it's funny. I was smiling when you said that, because when I first came to Crescent, I just kept coming across the core values, the mission, men of character from boys of promise. And I've worked at other terrific schools, and all and other organizations, and they all had mission statements. But honestly, I think most places I'd worked, the approach was, we have a mission statement, it's in a binder somewhere. If we need to look it up, we can find it for you, but we got things pretty well in hand, so I think we're good. That was sort of the approach to the mission statement. And when I came to Crescent, it's everywhere. It's on the walls. Every time we're in a meeting, people are referencing it. I went to graduation the second day I was at Crescent. Boys are talking about their journey to become a man of character and how the core values were so important to them. And I was sort of looking around like, are the teachers, are they, prompting you to say this? But it's truly genuine. So I think it's terrific that you picked the 4 core values of Crescent: respect, responsibility, honesty, and compassion. Magda, maybe what would Nico say if we had him on the line? What would he have to say about Crescent?
He'd say that he's at the best school. He will, like, he's so proud of where he is, whether he's, out playing soccer with his soccer team. Like, he's talking about the school and sharing all the different things that Crescent has to offer. The mentorship program in the middle school, and how connected the boys are with their mentor, to peer tutoring, and you want to join the theater, you're into drama, there's always a production. Like, there's always something for a boy to do at Crescent. And let me tell you, he talks highly about those ladies from the lunchroom. He knows when he walks into that lunchroom that, he will leave with a full stomach. Like, those ladies take care of their boys from young to high school. So his experience so far, he's looking forward to the next 5 years, right? And what else? Lower school offers, certain things, and then you got the middle school, but he's looking forward to high school to see what what the hype is and everything, right?
Yeah.
He hears the boys talking about it and everything, so he's looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's great. What's next? I tell you, one of my favorite things to do, well, I like to eat too, and especially at Crescent where the food is amazing. Chef Lawrence and the lunch ladies. One of my favorite, I always eat with the lower school guys because it's the first lunch. And so, get in there early, and to watch the boys come running up from downstairs and the smiles on their faces is just the greatest part of their day, running to lunch. And then of course they get to go to recess right afterwards. So who doesn't like that? So, and another place where community is built, because every boy is eating together. They're all in the lunchroom, and then that's a unique thing. I've worked at many schools, and that's to have all the boys eating together is another amazing thing about Crescent. Hey, Lincoln, maybe one thing that you would change about Crescent, to make it a better place, if you had to pick something.
Honestly, this was a tough question. I was thinking about this one, and in my mind, Crescent had everything. But
right.
But if I really had to pick something, I would say maybe a bit more collaboration with other independent schools. Beyond the dances and the school plays, which is what we had back then. I don't know if it's changed now, but maybe finding ways to interact more, whether it be academically through debate clubs, or socially even, through field trips or events or what have you. I think it'd be something that I would have enjoyed more to interact with maybe your sister school a bit more, or what have you, right? So, and again, I'm picking at straws here because this is a tough question because I don't have much to change, but being able to broaden the network with other independent schools would also, I think, strengthen the power of that independent school community. And I say that because, in university, I found that it was easier to connect with others who attended independent schools. And, it was something that we could share and connect on. And I think it would be good to have that relationship develop at a younger age, maybe when I was at Crescent.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, like, this is a tough question, but there's not much I would change at my time at Crescent. But if I had to pick one, this one would probably be it.
Lincoln, that's amazing. And we didn't talk before we were chatting. We're chatting today, but it's amazing that you said that, because one of the things that Crescent and always impressed me so much, that our our alumni relations office will go visit universities and visit our young alum. And one of the things that they started doing was asking red light, green light, yellow light questions, which is, what are we doing really well that we need to continue? That's the green light. What are we doing that we need to stop doing? And what's yellow, or what should we start, or what should we do more of? And so we heard from our alum exactly what you said. And I would say over the last 6 years, we have built out an intentional program of connecting our boys with girls from other independent schools, beyond the social, beyond the dance. And that's what schools like when I went, that was it, so to your point, things like my daughter did a 2-week outreach trip to Colombia, and she was at a girls' school, and they did it with Crescent. And so they met before, they went on the trip multiple times. They went the trip together. They connected afterwards. That was an amazing experience. We're doing things like with a girls' school, pick grade 12 English. Let's study the same book. Let's have some opportunities for discussion. So we're trying to do it academically. We're trying to do it extracurricularly. To your point, co-ed debating tournaments now. We're partnering with girls' schools, Model UN. If there's an opportunity for us to collaborate, we want to work in concert. We want our boys to work in concert alongside girls towards a common purpose, because we think that really builds relationship and understanding, and sets them, to your point, sets them up for university, so that when they go there, a lot of the feedback our boys got were, man, these girls are smart, and we weren't used to having them in the classroom. So to be able to experience that in high school prior to university, so fantastic that you mentioned that. Hey, Max, what what would you change about Crescent, if anything?
Okay, I just want to say, great answer by Lincoln. Like, that's I didn't think of that at all, but like, now that he mentions it, like, that's definitely something that I would, I think we had it probably a bit better than him in terms of like collaboration with other independent schools when I was at Crescent, at least in the upper school. But yeah, I think that's definitely still something that like could always be improved upon. And like, I think it would definitely benefit students going into university. For my one thing I'd change about the school, I think coming back to like the whole strong support network and like constant guidance that you get at Crescent, like, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because as awesome as it is to have when you're there and it makes you feel really comfortable and you get to like know yourself really well by the time you graduate, I do feel like it means that once you like leave Crescent, and for a lot of students, like, that means going to university or college, you don't have that kind of support network, and you don't like, obviously you have the alumni network, you have a lot of peers that you'll probably end up going to university or college with, but you don't have as much guidance or as much of a support network, and you don't have someone checking in on you to make sure you're on top of everything. So I think like maybe more of an emphasis on the discussion about kind of surviving on your own, and succeeding within an environment with like less constant support and guidance. So I'm not sure if this is something that should take place in class or in mentor group, but I think it should happen somewhere, because not saying I was ill prepared to kind of be on my own and succeed without that guidance and support. But I definitely think I could have used more prep in terms of, okay, like, even though we're helping you out with this and this and this now, in a year or two, you won't have this. So make sure to like focus on practicing these strategies and these techniques for, managing your personal life. Because I think that's something I definitely would have benefited from. And it's probably something more geared towards grade 11s and 12s, but I think it definitely would help to have at some point.
You know what? It's funny. You guys hit on the two things that our alumni told us. Start doing, stop doing. And that, Max, what you hit on it. The guys were saying to us, your Crescent is so supportive. So, you know, I got to university, no one's saying, hey, you know, where's your assignment, or where were you in class yesterday, or all these supports. And so that's a double-edged sword, right? You want to support your boys. And as a parent, Magda, you know this too, the role of a parent is really letting go, right? And as they age, it's, you know, backing off more and more. And so, Max, to your point, we talk more about, we call it scaffolding. And I don't, we're never going to get it perfect, but it's, you build this scaffold to support the structure, and then you take down the scaffolding over time, to allow the boy to stand on his own. And so that's something that we're really thinking about. We want to support you, but at the same time, we got to get you ready to be able to stand on your own. And it's different for every boy, isn't it? You know, some boys are going to need more supports, and some will need less. But it's great. You guys hit on the two things that our alumni have told us. Sometimes you're too supportive, so make us stand a little bit more on our own, and we're definitely trying to do that. Hey, Magda, you know, if you were to describe Crescent in 3 words, or you know, personified as a person, how would you describe it?
I'd say positive, one, integrity, and I'd say determined. And determined because Crescent is determined to succeed in anything they do, and they want their boys to be as determined and as successful. So yeah, I'm a little, sometimes I'm not too caught for words, but Dave, like today you've you know,
I've got you.
You got me. So you know.
Yeah, no, I love the way you said positive and determined, you know, and because sometimes positive can get a bad rap if you're, you know, oh, you know, it's overly everything's positive and positive feedback, and you know, killing with kindness sort of thing. But you can have that positive sense, but be determined to improve and continue to work on things, but do it in a way that's not you know, in any way demoralizing, or you know, and that's, I watch that with our teachers, you know, that imbue that positivity and reinforce, hey, what you're doing is terrific, and then, you know, how can we work on that and tweak it and make it better, so that the boy is on a journey of continual improvement, and not just with school, but also you know, you're a work in progress as yourself. You know, you're on that road to character, to being a man of character, and you're determined. You're never going to get there, but that determination to keep working on yourself. So I actually think that, you know, you bookended that really well.
Right. And I find that, you know, when they see the boys showing improvement, showing that they want to excel, you know, the teachers will push them even more and set new hurdles for them to cross, because they know that they can achieve that. So that positive reinforcement to all the boys to see them do well and be successful is good, right? Like,
yeah, and that's the art too, isn't it? Because you want to make it unique to each boy's experience and his talents and what he's capable of, and to see that in him, maybe that he doesn't see in himself.
Yeah, and to get out of their comfort zone, right? For boys that are always into athletics,
Right.
they'll get them into the theater because
Yeah.
they know that they're good, like at performing, and they see them in the hallways. Come on, like let's face it, like
Yeah.
boys are good, right, at performing and showing their character and all that. So it's nice to see that the teachers are able to pull that out of the boys, right?
Yeah.
And
To
to
stretch
stretch
them. And yeah. And I think I get that question a lot from parents about, a boys only environment. And what I always tell them is that in a boys only environment, boys will more broadly define themselves as who they are in a person. And in large part, it's that teacher connection who's saying, hey, I see more than just a soccer player here. I also see, a budding actor or somebody, a debater or community service. So to just broaden that, stretch each boy beyond what they maybe thought of themselves when they first came through the doors. Hey, Lincoln, what do you think people would find most surprising about Crescent?
I think the one common theme that we've already talked about a lot is really that brotherhood. That family environment, that togetherness.
Hmm.
That Crescent is really part of your extended family, and I'm not talking only about with your peers and your classmates, but really with everyone at the school. The dynamic of being in a relatively smaller school combined with smaller class sizes, just brings everyone together a lot easier. And almost everyone is a familiar face in some way or another. You're going to cross paths with another student, whether it be walking through the halls of lower school to get to your class, middle school, upper school, volunteering as a class rep, a mentor, a house captain, participating in one of the school-wide events and activities, what have you. There's so much, and everyone's just part of this really big family. It's a really community environment type at Crescent that you spend, a large part of your life growing up with. And I'm honestly proud to say that I am an alumni at Crescent School.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah, that same thing. It's funny, like, and I get families, asking if they hadn't had any experience with a boys only environment, what they imagine, maybe something more testosterone infused, kind of Lord of the Flies environment. And I tell them, and you experience this anything but. It's a nurturing, caring brotherhood. Older boys looking after younger boys looking up to older boys. And it's happening now in our alumni, as you talk about our internship and our mentorship program, our older alum mentoring and providing intern opportunities for younger alums. So it just continues. So I think that's a terrific answer. Hey, Max, what do you think families might find most surprising about Crescent?
I think Lincoln's answer is really awesome, so I won't take too much more time on this question because
That's
a lot
okay.
of what I would say would be what he said. But I think that the biggest thing for me was that, at least like I never, coming in as a grade 6 student, I never could have imagined that the school I went to could be like so much more than the academics. That really caught me off guard. I think it becomes a lot more obvious once you go and tour the school. Like you get a really good sense of how it's like much more of a community beyond just going to class, taking your notes, doing your tests, and going home. But from when I first heard about Crescent to when I started my first day there, that was definitely something very surprising to me. The number of late nights and early mornings I've spent at the school, I never could have imagined wanting to dedicate that much of my time and energy to the school I attended. And yet I'm sitting here looking back on it and very proud of all those moments that I spent at the school. So yeah, I guess like the big thing is it's not just a stepping stone to get into a nice university or college. It's an experience on its own. It's one that's meant to be cherished. And I really would not have seen that coming when I had first heard about Crescent. And it's like the most evident thing to me ever after having graduated.
Yeah, it's amazing. Boys are arriving early and they're staying late. And I've been, occasionally I'll be on the campus on a weekend at an odd hour, and there's a whole bunch of guys working on a robotics competition, and it's like Saturday at 10 o'clock at night. So that that whole experience, it really becomes home away from home. And it's not just the 9 to 3:30 or the classroom time. It's that extended time. And I always talk to parents about, hey, one-stop shopping. Like, we want your boy to be immersed in everything that's going on at Crescent, so that you're not having to drive them all over the city to find supplemental experiences for your child to round out their education. It's all on the campus, and you can do it in a safe, warm, friendly environment, and be challenged both in the classroom, but also outside the classroom. Hey, Magda, maybe talk just about the values of Crescent, and the values that you see in the families in the Crescent community. And you play a really important role, I think, in that, being, a CPA president. What kind of values are you trying to project to new families, and then engender within the Crescent community?
So I think I'm going to go back to what Lincoln had said, the 4 core values of Crescent, because the respect, responsibility, honesty, and compassion. Like, I see that in the families at Crescent, the parents that I volunteer with at the school. Whether it be through outreach programs or fundraising or volunteering in the den, you see that with our community, and we're there to give back to the school that is giving so much to our boys. And I'm extremely proud to be a part of this community, and to be able to give back, and it's great. Like, I don't think I've met one family that can honestly say anything bad about Crescent. I've been here for 5 years, and there's not one parent that I've, approached me or I've met through volunteering that's ever had anything bad to say. Right. So Crescent has done well the way the community is built, right? Because like the boys said, Max and Lincoln, it's a family. Right. So
and you, the parents and the CPA, you guys play a big role in that. And you mentioned the den. For people listening, the Coyotes Den is where your boy first goes to buy a uniform, or if he needs some school supplies and that sort of thing. And it's run by volunteers, mostly Crescent, moms, but members of the CPA. And I remember speaking to a group of women who are volunteering, and I said, you know what? You're very often the first person that a new family meets, other than, the enrollment office or something through open house, is when they go buy the uniform and they're all excited. It's May or June, but prior to September. And the first people they meet are Crescent moms. And that just sets the tone right there, because the feedback I get is like, right away, their son was welcomed in, and right away they felt that warmth. And then it repeats itself, right? If you onboard people well, and show who you are as a community, then they just propagate it. And you're witness to that. Now you're president of the CPA, and you're giving back the way that you were welcomed.
Yeah. Dave, you gave me goosebumps, like when you were talking about the families coming into the den. It's true. Like, I see the volunteers there, the moms, like, they talk about Crescent and their face lights up. Like, it's something else. I don't know what it is, but like, we love the den. We love talking to the new parents coming in to, to see the school and everything, and answer any questions that they have, because they ask us questions, and then how we like it and all that. So, but yeah, we're always happy to help in that. So it's great. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Hey, Max and Lincoln, we're just going to wrap up with our last question to you guys. So I want you to now you're looking back and you're going to be a big brother, a coach. We've got a new boy coming in to Crescent this September. What advice are you going to give to him? Or if you could talk to the younger version of yourself and coach yourself, what would you say? What would you tell him?
I guess.
Sorry, Max. I'll start with Max.
Okay, sweet. Sounds good. Yeah, I guess the biggest piece of advice I have would be seize the moment, because it's going to go by quickly. I think almost anyone who graduates from Crescent will tell you that it flew by, and no matter whether they were there for 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, yeah, whatever time you're there for, it's going to go by a lot faster than you're expecting. So make the most of it, because you frankly don't get a lot of opportunities like your time at Crescent to figure out who you are, to do the things you love, to make friendships that are going to last you a lifetime. So really dive in head first, because it's going to go by quickly. And yeah, there's never something bad to invest your time into, because at the worst case scenario, you'll figure out that you don't like something, and that'll prevent you from investing too much time in it in the future. So I think every experience at Crescent is a good one if you jump in and give your full effort to figure out if it's something you like or don't like, and you're going to meet new people in the process, and you'll frankly enjoy yourself in almost everything you do. So yeah, just hit the ground running and make the most of your time there, because it's going to fly by faster than you can expect.
Terrific. That's great advice. Lincoln, if you're coaching a new boy, or maybe talking to yourself, if you could go back in time, what kind of advice would you give?
I mean, so adding to everything that Max said previously, I would say embrace everything. Like, embrace everything that Crescent has to offer. Get involved. Crescent provides so many opportunities to explore yourself and to experience new things, whether it's sports, academics, drama, global outreach, leadership, business, robotics. Like, there's so much, the list goes on, and there's just so much to offer that you almost take for granted when you're there, and you don't realize it really until you leave. So just really just make sure that you, like Max said, hit the ground running and just get involved. And I would say the second thing is cherish those memories, because, to this day, my friends and I continue to share stories of the Crescent days. Some of my best memories took place at the school. And, like Max said, these connections, these moments, they last a lifetime. And they're always going to be memories that I'm always going to remember and reminisce about. So just cherish the memories and embrace everything that Crescent has to offer.
Fantastic advice. Hey, listen, Magda, Lincoln, Max, honestly, a privilege to chat with you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I think you've given a terrific window into a prospective family looking at Crescent. So I would just say, you guys, we couldn't have had 3 better representatives of Crescent who really know and have lived through the experience and can help future families pay it forward. So while they're making some difficult decisions. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And I'm going to sign off and say goodbye.